right. All right, so let's go through the steps one more time. We have problem 3, factor x squared plus 6x minus 40. If you want to pause and kind of see if you did it correctly, you don't have to write out the description of each step, okay? But just kind of the process, you can really just, it's just 5 or 6 lines of work. If you can fit it in that, I'm okay with that. But this is for those that are still kind of figuring it out, okay? I'd rather over-explain than under-explain, especially in this remote learning environment. Okay, so if you want to kind of work ahead, you can pause here, but I'm just going to proceed. So identify the coefficients of the terms. So 1 is the coefficient of the x squared term, therefore a is 1. 6 is the coefficient of the x term, therefore b is 6. And the constant term is negative 40. All right, there we go. All right, and then find two numbers so that when you multiply them, you get a times c, or negative 40. When you add them, you get 6. All right, there's a puzzle, right? Two numbers that when you multiply, you get negative 40. When you add them, you get 6. 40 actually has a few factor pairs, right? 2 and 20. 4 and 10, 5 and 8, and so on. So I think 4 and 10 are a candidate. Now, which one is negative? They have to add up to positive 6, so 10 has to be positive. So I get R is negative 4 and 10 is positive, so Q is 10. Okay. Negative 4 times 10 is negative 40. Negative 4 plus 10 is positive 6. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to rewrite. I'm going to write x squared plus 6x minus. Okay, step 3, I'm going to rewrite. X squared plus 6x minus 40 becomes x squared minus 4x plus 10x minus 40. Okay, so because negative 4x plus 10x is 6x, right? So that's what we did here. This is the O plus I term in the FOIL. We're kind of figured out what the O and the I is. And this little number puzzles help us figure out what the O and the I are. All right, here we go. So then I'm going to write x squared minus 4x plus 10x minus 40. I'm going to look at the two groups of terms. X squared minus 4x has an x in common. 10x minus 40 has a 10 in common. I mean, it also has a 2 in common, but we're looking to match this x minus 4, right? So I think the best way to do it is actually pull out a 10, not a 2 or a 4, because we're looking to match this x minus 4. So the x minus 4 is matched. So really I'm done. But let's say you switched the negative 4 and the 10 and you actually wrote this as x squared plus 10x minus 4x minus 40. I want to show you that in this case, not in all cases, but in this case, it will work this way as well. So I'm going to consider two terms, two groups of terms. X squared plus 10x has an x in common, so x plus 10. Negative 4x minus 40, both negative have a negative 4 in common. Negative 4 times x plus 10. As long as the stuff inside the parentheses is identical, you did it correctly. Okay. And then step 5, I'm going to follow through the work on the left side, which means I would factor out an x minus 4, get quantity x minus 4 times what's left in x and a plus 10, right? I underlined it in orange because that's what's left. You have to put it in parentheses, so x plus 10. Or if you did the work on the right, I underlined the stuff in green here. You get x plus 10 times, and what's left is the x minus 4. All right. Do you know this is the same thing? Multiplication is commutative, right? 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2. So x minus 4 times x plus 10 is the same as x plus 10 times x minus 4. Multiplication and addition are commutative. Okay, good. We've known that for a while, though. And then state the final answer in either of its formulation. I'm okay. You don't have to do it both ways. This is just to show you, in case you're working along, that both are okay. As long as on step 4, when you factor, what's inside the parentheses is identical, you're okay. That's what we want. Okay. Now, for the final step, pick either one of these to prove. Which one did I pick? I picked x minus 4 times x plus 10. Okay. So how do you prove that you factored correctly? You multiply. So that's step 7. X minus 4 times x plus 10. I'm going to multiply using the FOIL technique. I'm going to look at the product of first terms, then outer terms, then inner terms, then last terms. The product of first terms is x times x. The product of outer terms is x times 10. The product of inner terms is negative 4 times x. The product of last terms is negative 4 times 10. And then I actually multiply x squared plus 10x minus 4x minus 40. Simplify x squared plus 6x minus 40. And that's what I want, right? X squared plus 6x minus 40. Good. So you get, your factoring is correct. Okay. Okay. I hope you picked up on the patterns here. I don't see a reason behind doing more examples because they are all kind of moving the same way. In the next class, we're going to start looking at slightly more complicated examples because, have you noticed something? A is always 1, right? So what happens when A is not 1? Well, step 4 gets a little more complicated. But if you get this pattern down, right? We're kind of learning in layers here. If you get this down, I think you can build on this. Okay, so that's the lesson. You have a little bit of time to get this homework done because of the weekend. And also we have a quote unquote day off on Monday, our virtual day off. All right, so I'm going to give you till Tuesday and Wednesday to get this done, okay? If you're having difficulty, email me. And I'll take a look at your factoring work over the weekend. All the other stuff I've graded already. Okay. Have a wonderful weekend.